Bryan was in the main event last year, and now he's the opening act this year. One of the hottest moments in WWE, and now you're fighting for the Intercontinental title. At least you won it.
But not to be outdone in the what the fuck does this have to do with anything entrance department, a bunch of Terminators rise from the stage. Then Levi Stadium is declared a hostile environment. Then they cut to Sting again, who's looking like he just smelled a fart. Probably should have taken Triple H's lead and ditched the long hair.
But on the other hand, a bald Sting, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be bald, just it's got to be something you can do besides that.
So if you're keeping track, John Cena ruined Rusev's undefeated streak, broke out of his unbreakable move, all in one match. All that was left was for him to take Lana. No, he left for cancer. And on that night, fans were chanting, "You deserve it." Ronda Rousey. They put a mic in her hand, which turns out it wasn't a good idea.
Ever.
It's like she was whispering too. Well, Stephanie, you see, any ring I step into is actually mine.
Was it WrestleMania 31? We're in San Francisco, California, home of Jey Uso. Aloe Black sings America the Beautiful. It was inoffensive. I don't know who it is. Do you?
Nope.
Okay. LL Cool J did a hype video. Talked about some social media bullshit changing wrestling, but the fans are still the same. References Hogan and Andre, the irresistible force and immovable object. It talks about Michaels achieving his boyhood dream. It talks about Hogan versus Rock, icon versus icon. And finally, Rock versus Cena, which was generation versus generation, once in a lifetime, even though it was twice.
Yep.
And we start off with a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. Contestants in order of appearance were Daniel Bryan, Bad News Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Dean Ambrose. Starts off as a clusterfuck like you expect. Then everybody took turns doing high-risk maneuvers while everybody stood in a cluster. Fans started chanting Cody at Stardust, and Stardust reveals a bedazzled ladder. Barrett ended up breaking it and beating Stardust with it. Harper and Ambrose threw tiny ladders at each other, and then Harper did a helicopter with one of the tiny ladders. And Barrett superplexed Stardust off a ladder, got a holy shit chant. Later, JBL said Harper did it. Oh, Harper just superplexed Stardust off that ladder and then powerbombed Ambrose. Like Matt Hardy or whoever it was, that one Mania. Then Ziggler applied a sleeper hold in the middle of a ladder match to Harper. Harper climbed the top of a ladder and then passed out. And I think Ziggler turned it into a zigzag from the ladder. Then Ziggler goes for the title, almost gets it, but Barrett drags him off the ladder and nails a bull hammer as he's coming down off the ladder, which was cool. And Stardust and R-Truth each got a bull hammer. And then Barrett looks like he's won. Bryan comes out of nowhere, knocks Barrett off the ladder, so it looks like he's won. Then Ziggler and Barrett climb the ladder to stop Bryan. Barrett knocks the ladder down so he can get hit with a flying knee by Bryan. And then Bryan climbs up for the belt. Ziggler stops him. They trade headbutts, which was fucking stupid. They're on top of the ladder just headbutting each other repeatedly. And Ziggler finally falls off the ladder. Bryan gets the belt, does a yes chant from the ladder. And commentary said a whole bunch of times that WrestleMania started the way the last year's ended.
Which is something that I was thinking to myself too. Not that it started the way it ended. More so that Bryan was in the main event last year, and now he's the opening act this year. How fast it changes. One of the hottest moments in WWE, and now you're fighting for the Intercontinental title. At least you won it. There's that.
Well, then we had an advertisement. It was WWE's super successful athletic clothing line Tap Out. WWE released an athletic clothing line.
Yeah, it was more geared towards workout stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they were trying to be like Under Armour and failed.
It's Tap Out's fault, not WWE's fault. Boy, if they did an Under Armour WWE line, it would work.
We get an Orton Rollins video package. Orton was the young up-and-comer, winning shit and having the Authority watch his back. But Rollins came along. He's the shiny new thing. So Orton and Rollins started off as allies within the Authority after Rollins turned his back on the Shield. But Orton eventually got tired of cleaning up Rollins' messes. And Rollins was too arrogant to heed his warnings. Then the Authority ultimately chose Rollins. And Rollins ended up curb stomping Orton on the steel steps. Orton came back. Authority wanted him to come back to the fold. Seemed like he did, but Rollins never trusted him fully. I mean, can you blame him? Eventually, Orton did turn on Rollins, then whoops his ass, RKO'd him through an announce desk, and yeah, now we have a match. I do remember that. They were like teaming, and it's like, when is Randy going to turn? And he never did. And then finally he did.
Yeah.
So that brings us to Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. And Rollins comes out with J&J Security, which was Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. They start off pretty evenly matched. Then Orton goes for an RKO early. He does the 10 punches, which Rollins turns into a buckle bomb. And then Orton uses the momentum from the buckle bomb to somehow deck Rollins with a clothesline, like nothing happened. Then he poises for the RKO again. J&J Security got involved so they can get their asses kicked. And Orton gives Noble and Mercury a draping DDT from the apron to the floor. And JBL says, "Those are human beings, damn it." And Rollins uses the distraction to hit a suicide dive, starts working over Orton. He hits Orton with a flatliner on the turnbuckle. And Orton ends up firing back with some clotheslines, goes for a power slam, but Rollins holds onto the ropes. He tries to go for a curb stomp. Orton ends up hitting a power slam anyway. Then Orton goes for a draping DDT. Rollins escapes, hits Orton with an enziguri. Orton falls to the floor, and the ref tells Orton to get back inside while he's writhing in pain. It's like, "Come on, Orton, put some dirt on it." And Rollins hits a moonsault from the apron, tosses Orton back into the ring, goes for a top rope something. Orton stops Rollins, tries to go for a superplex. Rollins blocks it, goes for a sunset flip powerbomb, and Orton ends up just back body dropping Rollins off the top rope. And Orton hits a crossbody, which Rollins rolls through for a pin attempt. Orton finally hits Rollins with draping DDT, goes for an RKO. Rollins counters with a schoolboy, and then hits a super kick while Orton's on his knees. He goes for something that Orton turned into an RKO for a very near fall. And then commentary gave Rollins props for kicking out. So Orton goes to punt Rollins. J&J Security got involved so they can each get an RKO. Rollins uses the distraction to set up a curb stomp, which Orton kicked out of as well. And then Rollins goes for his top rope move, which he doesn't do anymore. Can't even remember what it's called. Is it the Falcon Arrow or some shit? Or Phoenix Splash?
Yeah, it's like the twisting Phoenix Splash thing that he used to do. Maybe he can't even do it anymore. I don't know.
Maybe. Orton moves out of the way at the last second, goes for another RKO. Rollins blocks that, tries another curb stomp. Orton hits Rollins mid curb stomp, 1, 2, 3. And Orton celebrated after.
Yeah, so it's one of the RKOs that are played on his highlight reel. For the listeners, is the one where Rollins goes for the curb stomp and Orton reverses it, pushes him into the air, and then hits the RKO. That one and the Evan Bourne one are on the highlight reels. And I remember it when it happened.
I can't remember if I watched this live, but I do remember watching this WrestleMania.
I think I watched it live. I think I was back by then.
We get a Triple H Sting video package. Triple H says he is WWE and makes the place better. However, anyone who defies him and his authority will grovel at his feet. Sting comes back and hits Triple H with a reverse DDT. Triple H tries to use a sledgehammer on Sting, but Sting has a bat. Then they agree to a match at WrestleMania. Later, Stephanie tells Sting that he was a fish in a teeny tiny pond. Now he's a minnow swimming in the middle of the ocean. She tells Sting that he and WCW lost, and he's going to lose all his respect after Triple H gets through with him. Then she calls Sting a face-painted freak, tries to slap him. Sting blocks it, and it's like, oh, no one's ever done that before. No one's ever thought to catch it. Triple H comes out to defend Stephanie's honor, and she hands him a sledgehammer to use on the unarmed Sting. But then Sting reveals that he has a bat. Sting says he's not fighting for WCW. He's here to take Triple H down. Why Sting would give a fuck about Triple H is anyone's guess, though.
It should have been The Undertaker, I'll just say.
Well, instead it was Sting versus Triple H. No disqualifications. And for some reason, Japanese drummers with Sting face paint drummed a song before Sting came out. Then they just play the drum part of Sting's theme when he comes out. But not to be outdone in the what the fuck does this have to do with anything entrance department, a bunch of Terminators rise from the stage. Then Levi Stadium is declared a hostile environment. Sting is determined to be a target, which it cuts to Sting looking on like, how the fuck did we lose to this shit? We being WCW.
No, he was overwhelmed by how majestic it all was.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, because he's from that little old WCW. What did you do, like 5,000 on a show? This isn't Starrcade. This is WrestleMania. Hammer that home.
Yeah, they did. Triple H finally rises as the lead Terminator with plastic arms, shoulders, and helmet. It was funny because the arms were shorter than his actual arms, so he had to kind of scrunch up. The helmet had a crown to signify that he's King Terminator. It was really dumb and tacky. Then Triple H and the Terminators rise above the stage. Arnold Schwarzenegger cuts in and tells us that it's Judgment Day and it's time to play the game. Then he takes off his sunglasses to reveal glowing Terminator eyes. Then, of course, Triple H has to do his actual fucking entrance. He's still wearing the Terminator helmet thing, but the shoulders and wussy looking arms are gone. And he has Terminator skulls. Then they cut to Sting again, who's looking like he just smelled a fart. And yeah, starts off with a long stare down. Even with like the face paint though, Sting looks old. Probably should have taken Triple H's lead and ditched the long hair.
Yeah, it was the hair that really did it. His little comb back thing going on.
His bald spot kind of reminded me of Savage.
But on the other hand, a bald Sting, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be bald, just buzz it or something. It's got to be something you can do besides that. So they trade shoulder tackles. Triple H does a crotch chop. Sting woos. Sting's face paint is already coming off like immediately. Dumb fuck fans chant "You still got it" after a drop kick. Then Triple H hits a knee drop. Sting no sells it, starts beating his chest, and he goes for a sharpshooter. Triple H escapes to the floor and regroups. Then Triple H gets back to the ring. Sting sends him back to the floor. He goes for a stinger splash on the barricades. Triple H moves out of the way. He starts working on Sting, then gets overconfident. Even does another crotch chop. He hits Sting with a spine buster. Sting starts fighting back. For some reason, Triple H goes to the top rope. Sting catches him and locks in the sharpshooter. And that's when DX comes out, which is Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X-Pac. Well, Sting kicks their asses. Triple H tries a pedigree, but Sting counters. He dives to the floor while DX is standing in a cluster, including Triple H. He gets Triple H back in the ring. Billy comes to the apron, gets his ass whooped by Sting again. And Triple H hits his pedigree. Sting kicks out, of course. And Triple H goes to the floor, pulls out a sledgehammer. Before Triple H can finish off Sting, NWO music plays. Out comes Hall, Nash, and Hogan. DX starts freaking out. They have like a little standoff on the entrance ramp. Then they start fighting. NWO kicks DX's ass. Sting hits a distracted Triple H with a reverse DDT, but Triple H kicks out. Sting locks in a sharpshooter again. Triple H tries to crawl to the sledgehammer. Hogan snatches it from him. DX and NWO start fighting again. Looks like Nash tore his quad because he started holding it on the floor.
I thought so too, but he actually got back up towards the end. So I thought so too. I was like, well, there you go.
Then Hall did his trademark, getting his Razor's Edge reversed. So it's good. Meanwhile, Triple H is still in the sharpshooter after all this. Like they're fighting on the floor. Nash is selling his quad. Got Hall trying the Razor's Edge. All the while, Triple H is in the sharpshooter. And even after a longer while, the fucker gets to the ropes to break the hold. Well, Sting grabs Triple H, goes for the sharpshooter again. Shawn Michaels appears and just hits Sting with a super kick. Michael gives Sting a crotch chop. Sting kicks out when Triple H goes for the pin. DX regroups on the floor. Billy Gunn hands Triple H the sledgehammer. Scott Hall hands Sting the bat. Triple H goes after Sting. Sting counters and then breaks the hammer with the bat. And Sting drops the bat, beats the fuck out of Triple H. Goes for a stinger splash. Triple H counters with a broken hammerhead. He makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. And DX actually celebrated this horse shit and then pulled Triple H to his feet to celebrate some more. NWO pick up Sting. Then Triple H goes in for a handshake. Sting accepted the handshake like a dumb fucking idiot. I forgot Sting lost this match.
I didn't.
I don't know. This wasn't it, kid.
I was actually sports entertained by this match. Yeah, Sting shouldn't have lost. There's that. And it should have been The Undertaker. There's also that. But for what it was, yeah, I was sports entertained. DX coming out, the NWO coming out.
They're all ancient.
Yeah. All their old asses.
But the NWO coming out to help Sting.
Which didn't make sense in the grand scheme of things, but
yeah,
it's WCW. That's what they were fighting for. Even though they were vehemently against WCW.
Yes. They wanted to put WCW out of business. And Sting was WCW savior against the NWO.
But, you know, they couldn't bring out, like, Luger. I think is he not in the wheelchair at this point? Yeah, I was just thinking, like, who could they have really Maybe Diamond Dallas Page, but he probably didn't want to do it. Booker T, he probably didn't want to do it.
Booker T was on the pre-show. He would have done it.
Oh, yeah, then he could have done it. They wanted that NWO pop because, it was almost like a mirror because you had DX on one side. So then what was WCW's biggest faction was NWO, even though, yeah, it doesn't make sense to why they were there and then being the faces of it all. And I thought about it, Sting, and they even said it on commentary, like, he's been avoiding WWE. He thought he was too big for WWE. Lawler, he's like, I think he was just being loyal to his brand. He was the face of WCW. He's like, well, if that were the case, when WCW went under, he would have came in, but he didn't. He stayed away for 15 years. So,
because he knew they wouldn't have known what to do with him, and they ended up proving him right.
yeah. I don't know what led to him actually deciding. Because, yeah, he probably knew if I go to WWE, they're going to do something like this. So, I don't know what, got him to actually do it. And again, I think it should have been The Undertaker. Especially if he was going to lose, just give us The Undertaker match and be done with it.
I don't know if the Undertaker wanted it.
I don't know. I actually saw he uploaded a clip the other day about the match with Sting and why it never happened. I didn't watch it, but I saw there was a clip uploaded about it.
I'll have to watch it. Well, some whole interviews Daniel Bryan. He wants to know how it feels to be Intercontinental Champion. He's interrupted by Pat Patterson and then Roddy Piper. And they did a little stare down, Piper and Bryan. Then Ricky Steamboat interrupts, who's still wearing that goddamn karate outfit. He said Macho Man would say, whoa, yeah. But he totally fucked it up. I don't think he knew Macho Man.
That isn't even the worst part of what he said. He likened that ladder match to him versus Savage, WrestleMania. He's like, that was up there with our match. Like, really? That shit show? I know what you're trying to do, but come on.
Well, then Ric Flair interrupted. Everybody wooed. And then Bret Hart came in and he shook Bryan's hand. Then they all did a yes chant. Then Farouk came in just to say damn.
Oh, it was Maria Menounos or Munoz. I don't know. She had a WrestleMania match that was bad. So Farouk walks in and she's like, were you ever Intercontinental Champion? And then drops his damn.
Was he Intercontinental Champion?
I think he was.
I think he was too. Damn.
So I don't know why he did damn. And I know for sure he was champion in WCW. So.
Well, he damned because they didn't know his history.
Oh.
He's a Hall of Famer, I think. Some shitty musicians played their shitty song. I think it was the bitch that sang with Diddy when he did the intros to his songs. Whoever the rapper was ass.
The funny thing is, I've had that song stuck in my head, and then it actually played. And not even the song, it's just like that. That part. It's been in my head for some. I didn't know who sung the song. I still don't know who sung the song. But yeah, it's been in my head, and then finally here it was.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who it was.
Well, up next we had a girls' match. I didn't give a fuck.
This was Paige and AJ Lee teaming up versus the Bella twins.
Yep, there you go.
And Paige and AJ Lee won. The match went on way longer than I expected it. They were taking
6 minutes, 42 seconds.
Yeah, they were taking it as a serious match, not like a bra and panties match or the Playboy match thing that they had years ago. But, it's a little modern now, so you can't do that.
We'll get used to it. Eventually, one of them will actually main event a WrestleMania. We get the Hall of Fame. That's what I like about the WCW pay-per-views.
There ain't no women.
Yep. Again, the women that are there are good.
Well, I don't even think they have a women's division anymore.
Well, I don't think they ever did. They had a women's title. I don't think they had a division.
Yeah. They had women that could go out there if they needed to. But I don't even think that's... Is there a women's champion right now?
Well, I think at this time it might be defunct, but it was Akira Hokuto.
When she retired Medusa?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that was the last time we saw it on TV. Or saw it, was when she retired Medusa.
But that's what I'm saying. They had Medusa, but then her opponents were New Japan girls. And they brought Luna Vachon in as a mercenary, and she disappeared. So, yeah, they had a title. They just never had a division.
Fair enough.
That's what makes the WCW pay-per-view so good, though. The Hall of Fame class of 2015. It was the Bushwhackers, Larry Zbyszko, Medusa, Tatsumi Fujinami, Rikishi, Connor the Cancer Kid, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Randy Savage, and Kevin Nash. What a snoozer. Like, Medusa could have shown a titty or something.
Yeah, they can't all be hits.
So you get a Cena Rusev video package. Rusev's Russian, Cena's American. Cena's coming in after a loss to Rusev at Fastlane. Cena bullied Rusev into a rematch after Rusev initially refused. Lana actually accepted for Rusev, and he was pissed off at her for it.
Yep, for showing weakness. Oh, sorry, compassion, even though it was towards him.
So Rusev versus John Cena for the U.S. title. Rusev comes out in a tank to the Russian anthem. Then they play Rusev's theme for some reason when he got right to the ring. Then speeches of presidents start playing, and Cena's theme starts playing after that. And this is the era when they start singing John Cena sucks to his theme. So they go hard at each other. Rusev hits a spin kick and a gut wrench suplex, stops to wave the Russian flag for some reason. Cena starts fighting back, does all his shit, hits a 5-knuckle shuffle, goes for the FU. Rusev escapes, hits a belly to back suplex. Rusev does fancy foot stomps. Cena tries to lock in the STFU, but Rusev is able to escape. Rusev goes for a superplex. Cena fights out, hits his top rope leg drop. Crowd starts chanting, "Let's go Lana," for some reason. Shows how interested they are in the match. Cena, I bet Lana loved that too. So Cena goes for another FU. Rusev escapes, hits a jumping super kick. Cena catches Rusev with a tornado DDT. They trade punches. Rusev grabs Cena's face and screams, "You can't beat me, John Cena." Then hits Cena with an Alabama slam. And Rusev goes for the accolade. Cena counters with an STFU. Lana throws her shoe in the ring for some reason. Rusev gets to the ropes. Cena starts yelling at the ref about Lana's shoe that didn't interfere with the STFU at all. And Rusev catches Cena with a fallaway slam, hits a diving headbutt for 2. Rusev screams, "Rusev, crush!" Then tries to get Cena in the accolade again, but Cena blocks the accolade, hits a springboard stunner, which Cole nutted himself over. "What was that? That was a springboard stunner. Oh, he's so innovative. Always a new wrinkle with John Cena. Oh, John Cena. Oh, John Cena. Cena.
Oh, that just happened.
Cena goes for an FU again. Rusev blocks it. Goes for a spinning slam. Looked like Solo's little move. The spinning Solo thing. Cena blocks the spinning slam, then gets kicked in the face. Rusev does a modified pancake, stomps on Cena's spine, then locks in the accolade. Then Cena becomes the first person to break out of the accolade. And he locks in the STFU on Rusev. Lana distracts the ref. Rusev ends up hitting Lana. Cena hits the FU 1, 2, 3. Rusev is no longer undefeated. Cena is the new U.S. champ. And yeah, it's the second time he's won the U.S. title. First time was at WrestleMania 20 against the Big Show. And Rusev tore Lana a new asshole after the match.
So if you're keeping track of this match, John Cena ruined Rusev's undefeated streak. He broke out of his unbreakable move all in one match. All that was left was for him to take Lana. And I thought it was about to happen when Rusev was yelling at her and John Cena was still, hugging people. I was like, oh, here we go. John Cena's going to see it and probably, defend her honor or something. And he's
They do one better. Doesn't Bobby Lashley take Lana?
He does, but that's later.
But this is planting the seeds for that.
Is it that close? I thought it was a long time after.
Lana accepted the match with John Cena to protect Rusev because Cena had him in the STFU or some shit. But Rusev got pissed off at Lana. So then that started, the dissension. Lana was doing the right thing or what she thought was the right thing. And then she's getting yelled at for it. How long is she going to take this? And then it just keeps building from there until they eventually split. And then she gets blacked.
Yeah. So I guess, it's closer than I thought. Because I thought it happened way after.
It may be, but it all kind of ties in. Now, I will say the only good thing about this is this leads to the Cena Open Challenge with the U.S. title. Might be the only time I've enjoyed Cena.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I think that's when Kevin Owens debuted. He was still champion to fight Cena.
Yeah, he came in as... Yeah, he beat Cena, and then Cena beat him twice. So they advertised WrestleMania 32. It's going to be in Dallas. Then they gave the WrestleMania panel some time. I didn't. And then they recapped a pre-show tag match. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro won. They recapped the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We're remembering Andre the Giant on the pre-show now. And Big Show won after last eliminating Damian Mizdow, which Miz and Damian Mizdow also broke up.
So much happened on that pre-show.
Yes.
From the sound of it, the crowd really wanted Damian Sandow to win.
Oh, yeah, he was super over.
He will be one Money in the Bank.
Well, the Authority has a segment, Triple H and Stephanie. They announced a new Levi's Stadium attendance record, which was 76,976. Stephanie talks about how big and awesome WrestleMania is and how it's now broadcasted all over the world. Says it wouldn't be possible without me. Then she and Triple H smell their own farts for a bit. Rock comes out, says Stephanie and Triple H don't own the fans or him. Rock tells Triple H that he can leave and go dress up like Terminator again. Or they can create a WrestleMania moment right now. Well, Triple H says he's got nothing to prove. Rock tells him he left his balls in Stanford. Triple H starts to bow up to Rock. Stephanie gets in between them, starts talking shit to Rock. Shane McMahon gets a chant, and Stephanie slaps the piss out of Rock, starts talking more shit. Rock goes to the floor, grabs Ronda Rousey, and tells Stephanie he won't kick her ass, but Ronda will. Stephanie tries to say she and Ronda are friends, but Ronda's not having it. Stephanie tells Ronda she might be the baddest in the octagon, but this is the squared circle. Then she tells Ronda to get the hell out of her ring. Ronda, in her boring, talentless delivery that we're all familiar with and happy to have forgotten, tells Stephanie any ring that she steps into is hers. Then she tells Stephanie to make her leave. Just make me. So Rock and Triple H start fighting. Ronda hip tosses Triple H. Stephanie tries to slap her. Ronda gets her in some arm squeeze thing. Then Ronda and Rock gloat. Triple H and Stephanie cower. And yeah, this is probably one of the few times we'll see Ronda cheered. Thought that was a useless segment myself.
Can't believe Stephanie McMahon and Triple H really dropped the ball like that during this segment. Like, it was a terrible segment. I can't believe they let everybody down. You know, we got The Rock and Ronda Rousey. Like,
fuck Ronda Rousey.
It's
dude.
their fault that this segment failed, not Ronda's, not The Rock. And you said this is one of the only times that Ronda's going to be cheered. She was cheered during her first stint. It's when she came back is when it was bad.
Yeah, that's right. She went away, and that's when she started calling people marks and shit.
She started talking a lot more.
Yeah, she got cocky.
Yeah. But this version of Ronda Rousey, they put a mic in her hand, which turns out it wasn't a good idea.
Ever.
It's like she was whispering, too. Well, Stephanie, you see, any ring I step into is actually mine.
That's how she did her UFC promos.
Did she do promos in UFC?
Yeah, that monotonous, I'm going to beat her. It's my championship. Holly Holm doesn't know what the fuck she's going to do.
She doesn't have the gift of gab.
No, that's true.
That's what makes you the 5-tool players when you're good on the mic, too.
Not everybody can be Michael Bisping. So we got a Wyatt Undertaker video package. Wyatt wants Undertaker to pass the torch to him so he can become the new face of fear. Undertaker does not want that. So we got Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. And Wyatt came to the ring flanked by zombie scarecrows, which he animated some of them on the spot. I have no idea why Wyatt needed a lantern while it was still daylight. Undertaker comes out to a very pedestrian entrance and then reveals an American Badass haircut. Except it's not badass. It's really awkward looking. It's The Undertaker with a dad haircut.
Him and Sting went to the same barber, I guess. And another thing, they were on the same card. So there's another reason they should have been the match.
And The Undertaker already lost his streak. So could have done the right thing. Well, Wyatt screams at Undertaker that he's earned this, and Taker's not taking it away from him. Then Wyatt runs right into a big boot. Taker hits Old School, then gets leveled by a clothesline. Taker hits an apron leg drop, starts working on Bray Wyatt outside the ring. Then Taker hits Snake Eyes, goes for a big boot. Wyatt cuts him off with a flying forearm. And Wyatt starts working over Taker, hits an avalanche in the corner. He smashes Taker's head against the steel ring post. Then Taker cashes Wyatt with a Hell's Gate. Wyatt fought out. And he hits Taker with a rock bottom and a standing senton. Goes for Sister Abigail, but Taker counters it with a choke slam. He hits a tombstone. Wyatt kicks out. And the NXT face Taker made just pissed me off. Very fake. Like, oh. And Taker goes for another tombstone. Wyatt escapes. Hits Sister Abigail. Of course, Taker kicks out. Wyatt does the spider walk. Taker sits up, Bray shits himself, they trade punches, Wyatt goes for another Sister Abigail, Taker escapes, hits the tombstone, 1, 2, 3. And Taker took a knee in the middle of the ring after the match. This was a lot better than I remember. Like, the only thing I remember from that is Undertaker's face when Bray Wyatt kicked out of the tombstone. Just that fake reaction. Like, Taker already lost the streak. You have Bray Wyatt, who's super over. This was after John Cena decimated him, after he got decimated by Brock. And he was still fucking super over. And he carried this feud, and he made it interesting. And you could really think like, oh shit, yeah, he could replace The Undertaker. And he did the whole fucking Eater of Worlds shit. And he can control the lights, and it was hokey and spooky, but it still kind of worked. And then Undertaker can't even properly sell him fucking kicking out of the tombstone. Like, it's bad enough he's losing to this fucker.
Yeah, missed opportunity. But I still think it should have been Sting.
Well, either CM Punk should have beat him at WrestleMania 29, or Bray Wyatt should have won at WrestleMania 30. And then he could have went on to Cena.
I mean, if we're talking overall, yeah, I would say Bray Wyatt. Just because he had that spooky gimmick. Or, I wouldn't say necessarily spooky, but, yeah.
It was supernatural.
So he would be the one-for-one
trade-off
if you wanted to put him over.
Yep, big missed opportunity. And it still would have worked, even though Undertaker already lost the streak. It just would have made sense to have Bray beat him. It makes no sense having a once-a-year guy come in and beat one of your top guys. Like, if he wants to come in and beat Cena or some shit, or he wants to have a one-off with Goldberg, that's another thing. But Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, there's someone who's there day in, day out, needs the win. Yeah, and I remember when I initially saw it, I was like surprised that they didn't give it to Bray Wyatt, especially on the back of Undertaker just losing the streak. It's like,
right,
the luster for that's gone, so he can lose this match.
And he loses to Roman and Cena.
Did he lose to Cena?
No, he didn't. I'm sorry.
He loses to Roman, but yeah.
I thought he lost to somebody else.
I think that was it. Just Lesnar and Roman.
My bad. Yeah, a lot better than I remember it. Just frustrating when you think about it. Well, that brings us to a Roman Lesnar video package. Roman's still ice skating uphill to be the guy. And boy, did Vince try by giving him all the wins and even a slammy. Brock's just an asshole and an ass kicker who's presented as an unbeatable champion. Heyman talked his shit about Roman not being able to ever beat Lesnar. And then Roman and Brock left the go-home Raw by doing the stupid tug-of-war thing with the belt. I do remember that and how awkward it was. We get Roman versus Brock for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And this is before WWE successfully brainwashed the dumbfuck wrestling fans into thinking Roman was something special, so he got appropriately booed. To be fair, he was corny as fuck.
Well, the fans were smartened up to it. It's like, oh, we see what you're trying to do. You're trying to John Cena this guy to us. The fans could tell that they were plunging him down our throats.
He carried himself like, I don't know. Like when he did the little kneel thing in the middle of the ring for his entrance, just really fucking superficial. He carries himself a lot differently now.
For me, it wasn't even that. It was, the fact that, superstar of the year. And in the Royal Rumble, he beat Kane's elimination record that same year. And he won the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this was the one where The Rock's holding his hand up to the chorus of boos.
I think it was, because they showed him hugging.
Yeah. There's that, and then, he's main eventing all these pay-per-views. It's like, okay, they're plunging this guy down our throat, but we just got over Cena. We don't want another Cena.
And then they ended up cheering for him anyway, and he became another Cena. So Vince won.
That's right.
Yeah,
Imagine
I guess
Vince having this foresight to see this guy's the next guy.
Imagine if Vince did that with Bray Wyatt or CM Punk.
Or Jeff Hardy, apparently.
Well, Roman goes in hot, actually makes Lesnar bleed. Lesnar bleeds for no reason. Like, you just look at him and he just starts bleeding. Brock hits a German suplex and an F5, like right off the bat. Doesn't even attempt to make a cover. Then he starts beating the shit out of Roman. Hits a deadlift released fisherman suplex, which was fucking insane. Roman starts to fight back. Crowd boos viciously. Lesnar just absorbs Roman's strikes, then hits another German suplex. Roman starts smiling while getting his ass whooped. Like, that's supposed to make us think the guy getting mauled is somehow a badass. And then Brock hits a belly-to-back suplex. He gets up and tells Roman, "Suplex City, bitch." He said it. Then Roman starts to fight back again. Brock hits another German suplex. Reigns starts laughing again. Like, getting his ass beat is going according to plan, says Roman. Like, I don't understand the laughing. That's another reason why he's fucking corny. So Lesnar hits another German suplex, starts working over Roman. He drapes Roman over the ropes and just starts delivering knee strikes, which was a really cool idea. And he tosses Roman from the apron down to the barricade, which Roman wasn't laughing then. And Roman catches Brock with a knee on the way back to the ring, gets a flurry going. Crowd booed every second of it. And Lesnar catches Roman's foot and just decks him with a clothesline. Crowd goes back to cheering. Roman's knee made Lesnar bleed some more. They actually do a close-up where he connected pretty good. So Brock goes to the floor, kicks Roman's ass there. They get back to the ring. Lesnar hits a standard suplex that damn near threw Roman out of the ring. Then he belly-to-belly suplexes him back into the ring. Total of 8 suplexes, by the way. Crowd was sure to let us know.
They're counting at this point.
Brock hits an F5. Roman kicks out, which is like, okay. Brock takes his MMA gloves off, starts slapping the piss out of Roman. Roman fucking laughs again. And Lesnar hits 2 German suplexes and a third F5. Roman kicks out of that too. And Lesnar tosses Roman out of the ring, tries to ram his face into the steel ring post. Roman reverses it, sending Brock into the ring post. Brock's bleeding from another place now. So after 10 suplexes, 3 F5s, Roman starts to do Superman punches, but Lesnar won't go down. Brock teases another German suplex. Roman escapes, hits a Superman punch, and Lesnar crashes to the mat. Roman hits 2 spears. Brock kicks out. Roman goes for another Superman punch. Brock catches him and hits a 4th F5. Then Rollins comes out, cashes in his Money in the Bank contract. He kicks Roman out of the ring and hits Lesnar with a curb stomp. Instead of going for the cover, he checks on Roman on the floor for some reason. Goes for a second curb stomp to Lesnar. Lesnar catches Rollins. He's about to nail him with an F5. Roman comes out of nowhere and spears Lesnar. Then Rollins curb stomps Roman 1, 2, 3. And then Rollins celebrated briefly, then runs away with the title to the entrance ramp. He gets pyro, which was really weird since it's a surprise cash-in. It's like, give him Roman's pyro.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Clearly they had that queued up for Roman, although he got pyro during the entrance.
And I think they edited out his crying at the end.
Who's crying?
Probably Roman. There's a WrestleMania where at the end he's just lying on his back, staring up at the lights, just crying. And supposed to make us be endeared to him.
I don't know. But it's like the fans are not idiots, you know, when you're trying to John Cena someone else.
It'll be interesting to see when the switch happens. He's a lot easier to digest now.
It doesn't happen until recently. I think it was the pandemic era. He was still him until he left.
Was that when he had cancer?
No, he left for cancer. And on that night, you know, fans were chanting, "You deserve." So that so that shows you how much he was hated. Now he came back, and then he left again during the pandemic because of the COVID thing. You know, because he was immunocompromised because of the cancer.
Too important.
And then when he was coming back, he was like, okay, "I'll come back," but he told Vince, "This isn't working. Like, I have to be a heel. I got to change if I'm coming back." So then that's when he came back and he teamed with Paul Heyman, and then that's when the switch happened. So it was around pandemic time.
Okay. Well, we only have a few more WrestleManias to go, so we'll get there.
Yeah, because I think it's the next WrestleMania he's going to beat The Undertaker, which leads to one of the better nights after on Raw. Crowds booing him out the building.
Well, the good thing for me is that the WrestleManias are going to get shorter because there's going to be more women's matches.
The bad thing for me is we still have that 7-hour WrestleMania coming up, or whatever, however long it is.
7 hours?
Something like that.
Oh, it's that Dallas one, isn't it?
Right before the split. Possibly have another hour. I remember it's Charlotte Flair and someone's WrestleMania 35. 8 hours long.
Oh, shit. That's really fucking long.
33, 34, 35, all over 5 hours.
Fuck you.
So we're about to get into the weeds here.
Jesus Christ.
And 32 is billed at 4 hours and 49 minutes. So you might as well say that's a 5-hour one too.
It's gonna take like a week to watch this shit.
Yeah, this WrestleMania, and it felt long in itself, was 4 hours. How could it possibly have another hour from what we just had? Even then, we had a lot of fluff. What are they doing for another hour? I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Well, Dave Meltzer reported that members of Roman's family were legitimately upset at the finish of the main event. Especially his father, Sika, was furious to the point where there was nearly a bad
Oh.
scene.
Well, I was thinking that they sent Rollins out there. Kind of they had to because it wasn't going the way they thought it was going to go. Like they thought they were going to get Roman over.
I think that was the plan. I think they're trying to slow burn Roman. Like, if he keeps losing, they'll have to like him.
Well, yeah, I'm saying they thought they were going to get Roman over by having him get his ass kicked and laughing, and then the fans were going to get behind him. But it wasn't happening, and then he was getting booed even more every time he got offense. So they were like, Seth, we need you. We need you to do it now. Because if he wins, the crowd's not going to like it. I'm just speculating. I'm not like.
No, I don't think he was. I think Seth was always the plan. That's what I'm saying. I think their idea was to have Roman lose to make him more sympathetic to the crowd. I know you're saying that they were booing him and stuff, and I don't think Vince gives a shit how the fans actually react. Like, he wants what he wants.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to change it like mid-show like that either. If he does that, he's going to do it because he wants to do it, not because of what the fans think.
True.
That's something Triple H would do.
Yeah, him and his burner accounts.
Well, the following night on Raw, Brock Lesnar wanted to invoke his WWE World Heavyweight Championship rematch clause, but was denied by new champion Seth Rollins. Lesnar responded by attacking Rollins, who escaped. Then Lesnar attacked Rollins' cornermen, J&J Security, a cameraman, and broadcast announcers Booker T, JBL, and Michael Cole. As a result, Lesnar was suspended and fined by Stephanie McMahon. Rollins returned later in the show. Randy Orton requested a title shot due to beating Rollins at WrestleMania. Orton and Rollins had a steel cage match for the title at Extreme Rules. Rollins retained after interference from Kane. And due to Rollins not winning cleanly, a fatal four-way match was scheduled for Payback, where Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Orton went for the title. Ambrose and Reigns were given title shots after beating Rollins on consecutive Raws. Rollins then defended the title against Ambrose at Elimination Chamber, due to Ambrose stealing the title 2 weeks before the event. And Rollins again retained at Money in the Bank after being demanded by the Authority to win without any form of assistance. The following night on Raw, Brock Lesnar would then return to face Rollins in the main event of Battleground. Their match ended with Lesnar winning by disqualification after interference from The Undertaker for some reason. On November 4th, during a match against Kane at a WWE live event, Rollins tore his ACL, MCL, and some other CL in his knee while attempting to execute a sunset flip powerbomb. The injury required surgery, and it was expected to take Rollins out of action for approximately 6 to 9 months. As a result, Rollins vacated the World Heavyweight title, thus ending his reign at 220 days. Also, on the Raw after WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan defeated Dolph Ziggler for his first successful title defense. However, after the match, Bryan and Ziggler were attacked by Wade Barrett, only for Sheamus to return and chase off Barrett before attacking Bryan and Ziggler. It was a ruse. Then Bryan faced Sheamus on that week's SmackDown and lost the match by countout when Barrett interfered. During the match, Bryan hit his head on the announce desk and suffered an unplanned cut to his forehead, which caused him to bleed and later require stitches. 2 weeks later, on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan teamed up with John Cena, and they defeated Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Turned out to be Bryan's final televised match. And on the following SmackDown taping, WWE pulled Bryan from wrestling on the remainder of the European tour as a precautionary measure. And then Bryan's scheduled title defense at Extreme Rules against Bad News Barrett was canceled, as Bryan was medically unable to compete. And then less than a week later, WWE stopped advertising Bryan on all future live events or television tapings. And after about a month off television, Bryan returned to Raw to announce that after having undergone an MRI, he would be out for an unknown period of time. Also, the nature of his injuries were not revealed. Therefore, he relinquished the Intercontinental Championship. Ryback won the vacated title at Elimination Chamber, and then Bryan revealed that his injury was concussion-related, claimed that he had been cleared to return to the ring by external medical professionals, and was waiting for WWE to clear him. And after receiving further diagnostic information that convinced him retirement was necessary, Bryan announced his retirement prior to an episode of Raw. So that was 2016. So 2 years later, he would be cleared after more than 2 years of evaluations, reviews of his medical history, and neurological and physical evaluations. He had to be cleared by 3 external independent neurosurgeons, neurologists, and concussion experts, in addition to Joseph Maroon, who was with, I guess, the WWE, just to wrestle for WWE. I don't know why he was so special.
He had the yes move.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, like, he can't be the only one that has gotten a concussion or been hurt by concussions or been injured to some extent by a concussion. But why is Daniel Bryan the only one that they seem to have just been sandbagged and put so much red tape that it was almost impossible for him to come back? They all but begged him to leave.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that was WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 32 is next. We said it was in Texas. Our main event is Roman Reigns versus Triple H for the World Heavyweight title. But before that, we have WCW Bash at the Beach 1998. Took place in the Cox Arena in San Diego, California. Main event is a tag team match between Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Chicago Bulls star Dennis Rodman versus Diamond Dallas Page and Utah Jazz star Karl Malone. This took place less than a month after Rodman and Malone clashed in the 1998 NBA Finals, which the Bulls won. As a result of the participation of the 2 NBA stars, this received significant mainstream attention, being covered by non-wrestling news organizations such as USA Today and CNN. The other matches that stuck out to me were Raven versus Saturn. Of course, it's a Ravens rules match. We have Stevie Ray versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. I think Stevie Ray's going to smash that little Mexican jumping bean. We have the Giant versus Kevin Green. Why? And we have Bret Hart versus fucking Booker T for the WCW TV title, which should be an awesome match until the bullshit happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, on paper, you'd think that's going to be a good match, but Eric Bischoff's going to have to do his stuff. I'm sure of it. Well, he might not, because it is for the TV title. Like, the early matches usually are pretty clean. It's only when something NWO related is when the shit starts happening, for the most part.
Well, then we have Mr. Perfect versus Goldberg for the U.S. title. And boy, have they mishandled Mr. Perfect.
You think that's going to be a Matt classic?
It should be, but no, it will not be. If I had to guess, it'd go about the way Conan's match did. Letters are Wrestling Rewind.
We're getting close to the end of the WrestleManias, but we're about to go in the mud here, but that's okay. Well, anyway, follow us on them. I'm not going to tell you, but they're in the description.